The first scientific handheld calculator, HP35, was introduced at the price point of $395, which is equivalent to you spending $2,907.42 in the year 2023. The ocean liner Queen Elizabeth catches on fire and ultimately sinks from the water used to put out this fire in Hong Kong, Victory Harbor. The year is 1972, and this car is a bit outside the norm of what we generally feature on this channel, but it's supercar, rarely seen, and fits in with all of the vibes. Meet the Honda Z600. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that features the weird and different, strange and unique, dares you to drive something different than the normal cookie cutter cars. We dive in deep on the history, specs, design, but most importantly, we show what these cars are like. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This 1972 Honda Z600 is currently for sale at Classic Automall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania. It just came in and it was just too cool not to feature. It's been over 10 years since I've seen one. Classic Automall has something for everyone with over 1,000 cars for sale when recording this episode. They also have financing and shipping available, so it's possible to get the car shipped directly to you wherever you are. Also, all the cars in the background are also for sale. With Christmas coming up, buy that gift your significant other truly wants. For hours of operation directions, be sure to click the link below after this show. Before diving in deep on this one, this is the oldest Honda featured on the channel so far, so a little history on the brand. Honda was founded in Hamamatsu, Japan in 1946. Honda started making motorized bicycles in a 170 square foot shack with 12 men working there. They had a supply of two-stroke engines from Tohatsu War Supply. Once those engines were gone, Honda would build a copy of that engine. With the money they made from the bike business, they put it back into the company in 1948 to incorporate. Honda would build their very first motorcycle from the ground up using Honda chassis and Honda running gear in 1949. 15 years later, they would be the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world. Honda ventured into the automotive business in 1963 with the T360, which was a mini truck. The second car that they would ever produce was a personal favorite of mine, the S500 sports car, which used a chain drive from their motorcycles to drive the rear wheels. From there, Honda began expanding their product line. It's worth mentioning the early cars are very much motorcycle-based cars. They didn't get a quote-unquote bigger car engine until the first generation Civic. Which brings us to 1972. 1972 Honda model lineup, which is a bit tricky because here in the USA, we didn't get all of the models. You had the N360 and the N600, which was the sedan version. It looks sort of like a Mini Cooper. The 360, the only difference between the 360 and the 600 was the engine. The 360 had a smaller engine than the 600. Then you had the Z360 and the Z600, which was the coupe version. Life N1300, 145, Vamos. Honda also introduced their legendary car, the Civic. Ever heard of it? Honda built their Z car from 1970 to 1974, and it used a bunch of different aliases, included but not limited to Honda 600 Coupe, Honda AZ600, Z360 or Z600, or Honda Coupe. It's important to note that this was the first Honda to be sold in the US of A. It was sold at Honda motorcycle dealerships. The N360 was classified as a Japanese K car. The K car was/is a car category for the smallest highway legal passenger car. Think cycle cars back in the day, but not as primitive. Made for tight urban areas, the category goes clear back to 1949, and regulations have been modified over the years. To be considered or classified as a K car, car must be no more than 11.2 feet long, 4.9 feet wide, engine displacement no bigger than 660 cc's. But back in 1972, engine displacement was a mere 360 cc. So both the Z360 and Z600 are classified as K cars now, but back in 72 it was just the 360. It's also important to note that we did not get the 360 here in the US of A. We only got the 600. Another point worth making is the Z600 was only available here from 1970 to 1972. When the legendary Civic came out in 1972, for whatever reason, Honda dropped the Z600 for the US market. Let's talk specs. 123 inches long, 51 inches wide, 50.4 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 78.7 inches. It weighs 1,312 pounds. Price, $1,540, which is equivalent to you spending $11,335.25 in the year 2023. Let's back up for a second. 123 inches long. To put that in perspective, a Nash Metropolitan or AMC Metropolitan is 149.5 inches long. So this is smaller than that. It's also about 10 inches narrower than the Metropolitan. The Metropolitan 61.5 inches versus 51 inches wide. 48 inches is 4 feet. So just to lay it out there, it's a really narrow car. Total 1972 Honda production was 235,248 units. Between the years of 1970 to 1972, total Z600 production for the American market was somewhere around 15,500 units. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer for this car, 598cc or 36.4 cubic inch displacement, 4-stroke, single overhead cam, inline 2-cylinder, 0.6 liter. It was good for 36 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 32 pound-feet, or 43 newton meters at 4,000 RPM with a bore of 2.9 inches and a stroke of 2.7 inches. Compression was 8.5 to 1. Featured 4 main bearings. Block was made out of a light alloy material. When backed with a 4-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in a brisk 24.2 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 75 miles per hour while achieving, and sources vary. The advertisements say that these get up to 40 miles per gallon. Owners have said that they could get up to 70, 60 miles per gallon. So somewhere there is the actual truth. But the power to weight ratio in this car is really impressive when you consider that it weighs 1,300 pounds. It only makes 36 horsepower and could go theoretically 75 miles per hour. Would I want to drive this car 75 miles per hour? No, but you could go that fast if you wanted to. This car is front-wheel drive. Front suspension consists of McPherson struts with coil springs, lower wishbones. In the rear, it uses a rigid axle, semi-elliptic leaf springs. The steering system is rack and pinion. Let's talk styling. The hood bulge looks very Datsun 240Z. What do you guys think? And that's the vibe I'm getting. I know that they're two totally different car companies, two totally different car designs, as well as it's longer in the hood, but this whole thing right here, it's reminding me of that. Headlights. Notice how the hood opens around the headlights. Bumpers. It's a pretty basic car, all things considered. Very small. Turn signals. Honda crest there. It does have a center line right here, leading up to the windshield washer squirter. The fenders are ever so slightly flared. Look at how small these wheels are. They're tiny. With the, almost looks like acorn nuts. Windshield wipers go to the same side. You have a cowl here. can almost touch the other side. That's insane. That's where Honda like to put their antennas. My antenna on my Civic was there. This actually looks like a really small Civic. Precursor to it. Side mirrors. This car does have drip rails that run the base of the windshield up and out the rear. There's a bezel here that says coupe. Side markers. Gas cap locking. I wonder how big these tires are. These tires are size 10. These are 10-inch tires. This car is so small that I'm willing to bet a Nash Metropolitan is bigger than it. But getting inside, before we do, the door handle's right here. Let's just look at the tiny door frame. It reminds me of a Jag XKE because of how dainty the door frame is. But the door panel itself feels like a vinyl material. And it's black, but the door is blue, so it looks like it's two colors, but it's really only one. Door handle to pull it shut. Window crank for the big window, as well as door handle to get out, which is this really tiny door handle right here. The window crank for the window operates the window like this. Take a look at this interior. Here's what over the hood looks like. Here's what first person over the hood looks like. On then to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Tachometer. Notice the parking brake light is at the bottom, as well as amp meter. Gasoline gauge in the center, flanked on top and bottom by idiot lights, which I could only assume are the turn signal indicators, oil pressure, and high beam. Odometer inside the speedometer. Key, radio, fresh air vent, ashtray, heat and ventilation controls. Up above, there are sun visors. They're a bit on the slender side. The hinge is in the middle, and it's plastic. Plastic! This has a rear view mirror right here, as well as another sun visor off to the side. This one also has a center console on the roof. So you have room lamp, spotlight, and I guess that's the spotlight. I'm 6'2". Here's where my knees are. I fit in this car. It feels like a bit of a bumper car. This is what I look like. It's actually really comfortable. I got headroom. I mean, if I hit a huge bump, I might hit my head, but this is a nice car. Like, I would buy one of these to just drive to go get, if I had to meet somebody uptown for something. I heard that these things get incredible gas mileage. Yeah, I fit in here, and you could fit one other person in here. It does kind of feel like a bumper car in some ways, but it's not terrible. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here's my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. Almost. It won't make it past that latch. Doesn't fit. Getting in the rear seat. So getting in the back seat, the seat release is actually on the inside here. You pull it towards you. I don't know if you can see that. So that is how much space you have to get back there. I don't know if I want to get back there. I mean, guess I could try. I'm not gonna get back there. You see how much space there is? I'll get stuck back there and I won't be able to get out. Under the hood, 12-volt battery, which the battery is almost the same size as the engine. Just check that out. Tiny little engine. I saw one of these for sale probably 10 years ago, and no, it was probably longer than that. I was probably maybe 18. And the guy didn't want a whole lot of money for it. I think he only wanted like $2 grand for it. It was orange. It was really nice, but it was small, and I didn't know who I'd get to work on the engine. But just check out the hood. Look at how it flares up because of the lights. This car has always intrigued me. I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to feature it on this channel. Honestly, this is one of those cars that I would totally buy. On the positive side, they are cool, different, rare. They are everything that I love in a car. They can go, because they are so small, they can go where other cars can't go, and you can take one other person with you. It's a Honda, so you know that it will run forever. They are still out there, although they are getting harder to find with each passing year. Against it, parts may be an issue, but then again, maybe not. It's a small car. It's almost like a bumper car. Maybe not quite that extreme, but it's definitely golf cart sized. You definitely don't want to get in an accident in this car. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have the Honda N600 sedan or the Honda Z600 coupe or Honda 1300? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. Feel free, pause the video if you need more time. Moving to the second scenario, which are other Japanese K cars. AutoZam AZ1 or Honda Z600 or Suzuki Cappuccino. Once again, I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you guys would like to see more Japanese K cars from the 70s, 80s, and they're still even making electric cars today, put it in the comment section because I would totally love to feature the Honda S500 or S600 or the AutoZam AZ1. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below or check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. I call it the After Party. It gives you the opportunity to share your ride, stories, experiences, anything car related is a go there. Or you can send me an email directly. All of it will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate everything that you bring in the comment section. And until next time, toodaloo! There's a kind of hush all over the world. Tonight, all over the world, you could hear the sound of lovers in love.